Hello, it's Jane here, and I've got a question for you today to ponder. If you could only grow 10 vegetables, what would they be? It's actually quite a tough one. I must admit, when I first heard about this, I thought, oh no, I mean, I know, having worked in primary education, I know children who can't even name 5 vegetables. So I was thinking 10 vegetables, that's pretty much all of them. I mean, as someone who's been growing them for many, many years now. But the original question was posed by Liz Zorab over at Byther Farm. I'll put a link either in the cards or below. And she has started an open collaboration that really does get the cogs whirling as to, what would your top 10 vegetables be? So I've been having a good old think about it, and I've used, in Saron fashion over on Sow Grow and Cook, because she's taken part as well, I've used the back of an envelope, and I would like to say in no particular order, but this is the order they all came into my head. So I would think possibly the more important ones are at the beginning. But these are my 10. As I'm going through them, I want you to think as to whether you'd agree with me, completely disagree me, hold your hands up in horror, or whether you'd have very, very similar answers. So, okay, on with it. My first one would be beans. Now, before I started growing vegetables, I never really thought I was a fan of a runner bean. In fact, to be honest, I don't like the pods. But beans, as far as runner beans, when you pod them and use the actual beans themselves, what an incredible array of sizes, decoration, colours, but more importantly, flavours you can get from the beans that you can grow in your garden, in your plot, in your allotment. Things like your borlotti bean. Oh my goodness, the markings on the pod and the bean, absolutely beautiful. Similarly, last year I grew Madeira maroon beans off Paul Savadon, and I'll definitely be growing them again. Just the colours of the actual bean, incredible. Gigantes beans, ridiculous. They're almost like a meal in themselves, and they're easy to grow. You tend not to get them in the shops. For me, pulses, which is what they are, you used to get them in a tin in either, would it be salt water or some sort of sludgy water, and you'd basically just use them as a meal filler, so to add to things to bulk it up a bit. So it's added a whole new element of a whole new ingredient to my recipes. That's the really bad way of putting it. You'll know better than I do. Write it in the comments below. But yeah, things you can't get in the shop. Plus, you can store them. You can either freeze them, you can them if you're in the US, and I think more people are doing it over in the UK now. You can dry them, good old dry them, but if you eat them fresh, oh my word, an absolute delight. So again, that's something I did not know about until I started gardening. That's number 1. Crikey, if I spend that long talking about number 1, you might need to go and get a cup of tea. Right, number 2, tomatoes. Who knew there was such a range of tomatoes? Again, you go to the shops, you get your little tomatoes, you get your medium-sized tomatoes, and if you've got a posh shop, you might get something called vine tomatoes. And all of a sudden, excuse me, because they've got that word vine on them, you suddenly think they're really posh. It just means that they've picked them and the vine's attached. They haven't even bothered to take it off the vine. So, but you tend not to get coloured tomatoes. I think I'm speaking for a lot of people who grow tomatoes, especially in the UK, that Sun Gold, which is a small yellow tomato over here in the UK, oh my goodness, the flavour of that. I've never tasted that flavour in a shop bought tomato. Maybe I just go to the wrong shops, but again, just beautiful. You can get giant tomatoes, the oxhearts, the soldaki, absolutely beautiful. And of course last year, my favourite that I went on and on and on about, and I'm definitely doing again this year, but I don't think I've got a picture, so you'll have to look it up, is Brad's Atomic Grape, which, just the look of it, it's just beautiful to grow for decoration, but that appearance is matched by its flavour. Don't get it in the shops. You can make them into sauces, you can freeze them, you can dry them, you can eat them fresh. To me, it's a must-have. If you like tomatoes, if you don't, pass this one by. Okay, my third one, garlic. And that's because, again, you've got to weigh up. If you are doing it to save money, if you are growing food to be self-sufficient, you might not think that my next two actually would be at the top of the list. But again, I never knew that garlic had different flavours. In fact, as I grew up many, many years ago, you got garlic granules or garlic powder. You never really used fresh garlic. But again, the flavours of fresh garlic, you can get some that are really harsh flavours, you can get really soft, mild flavours. And if you grow elephant garlic, what a treat that is. Rarely in the shops. Huge, not even a garlic, it's a member of the leek family. Just roast that, spread it on some sourdough bread. Again, depends which shop you go to. Spread it on anything and the taste is just delicious. So again, a bit of a speciality there, garlic. My next one that ties in nicely is onions. Again, you can get them from the shop for not much money for a bag, but to me, I use a lot of onions in my cooking. There's my phone. That was the onion police telling me to to make more of a deal about shop bought onions. No, it wasn't. Yeah, I use a lot of onions. You can go to the shops and buy them in a bag, as I say. But one of the best things about growing your own, and I had a really poor crop last year and I was really upset, which made me realise how much I depend on my homegrown onion. Can you hear that bird? Sounds like a blackbird right above me there. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, again, you can grow different sorts. So you can grow your Zebrun shallots. I'm including shallots and onions here. And at the end of the season, when you dig them up, you can plap them like you can with your garlic. And that gives you such a sense, tongue twister, such a sense of satisfaction. That was a hard one. Okay, so right, what have we got so far? Beans, tomatoes, garlic, onions. Okay, I've lost the plot here. They're in no order now. Okay, next one, going on to mange two. It's distracting me now. It's been joined by a pigeon now. I don't know if you can hear that pigeon as well. Okay, mange two. Not peas. I do love peas. They're not on my list. But mange two, beautiful. You can eat them as you go along the allotment. If you happen to pass the plant, you can bung a few in as you're walking by. But also, the last few years, I've been trying to grow, and only got a few each time, as you might know if you've seen the videos, the giant mange two. And I know Paul Savadont does them as well, and it's the Train Driver mountain range, a giant mange two. I'll see if I can find a picture, but basically, it's, again, a meal in itself, not something you get in the shops. It's a big mange two, and you might think that would make it tougher, but it's absolutely beautiful. And this year I found an equivalent, and I can't think of the name, but I found it and I've bought it, and again it's another mange two, so I'm going to grow it alongside the Train Driver. It might be the same thing, but just with a different label. I don't know, but I'll get back to you and let you know. Again, unusual, really easy to pick, easy to cook, easy to just put bung in the freezer. Yeah, it's a win-win. Right, okay, I've missed out kale. Now kale, actually, it's not something I would have ever bought. I think the most I went toward kale, if I'd gone shopping, would be a Savoy cabbage. Kale now, absolutely love it. It's incredibly good for you. Yeah, the darker it is, the better. It lasts right through the winter. It's amazingly versatile. You can freeze it, chop it and freeze it. In fact, I've done a video somewhere. Chop it, blanch it, freeze it, and then you just grab it out of your freezer bag and add it to things. You can make it, as some people powder it and add it to smoothies. I've never done that. But apparently you can make kale crisps out of it as well, which I still haven't done, and that's something Tony O'Neill told me about years ago. So this year I'm going to give it a go. The only downside with the kale, as with most of your brassicas, they tend to get covered. There's a helicopter now, as well as the pigeon and the blackbird. Sorry, I hope this is switched on, otherwise I could just be sitting here nodding my head. Shall we wait? I wonder where it's going. Okay, come. Okay, yeah. So kale, great one. And if you do on like the Nero di Toscana, the Cavolo Nero, beautiful. I mean, they're such structural plants. You don't even have to eat them. Just have them in your garden, you know. And like I say, in the winter, they're just beautiful. They are really lovely. You can get all different sorts, but a real mainstay of my vegetable garden. Right, okay, next one. Winter squash. Not summer squash. No, courgettes. Winter squash. So by that I mean things like your traditional pumpkins, your butternut squash, although less so the butternut squash. I find it a little bit watery, and you can pick them up in the shops. A chicky curry. What else have we grown? The blue Hubbard. Beautiful, incredible vegetable. There'll be an argument as to whether it's a fruit or a vegetable, but an incredible thing, like a zeppelin. The only thing is it takes up a lot of room, so we might not grow that one again this year. Turk's turban, lovely meal-sized squash. And again, when people think of squash, if they don't grow their own, the one that comes to mind is your butternut squash. And yeah, the ones that you can get in the shops, I do find, now I've had something to compare it by, I do find a little bit insipid, a little bit watery, like I say, and I think it's, yeah, they're probably grown very fast just to provide the supermarkets with, to supply the demand. But with your winter squash that you grow all summer long and harvest in the autumn, we've still got our last one. What is it? It's an orange one. It's in a chicky curry. We've still got one, and we're now approaching May. We've got one from last season. Puree it, put it in the freezer in chunks, roast it, make it into the most delicious soup. Really well worth growing. Okay, and again, for the variety of colours and shapes, just beautiful. Right, okay. Asparagus, pure joy, because it takes 3 blooming years before you can harvest your first one. So it is our third or fourth year now, and my asparagus is just coming up down there. There are the first 2 spears, excuse me. So I will be taking them home with me tonight. Expensive in the shops, extremely seasonal, so they're not in the shops for long. I mean, they don't grow for long. They've got a very short season, about a month of growing in your garden. But again, if you've got space to dedicate to one particular crop, get some asparagus in. It's really well worth waiting for, and it feels like such a treat. Have you noticed I'm big into having a treat? That's what's coming across, isn't it? Rocky's having a little wine at that. He's just down there. Okay, yeah, asparagus. I'm nearly finished, I promise. Sweet corn. Again, my friend York, and she won't mind me saying this, she transformed her back garden into a fantastic vegetable garden last year, and she was the one who did really well with the melon challenge, and she only had quite a small space for her sweet corn, but she still grew them, because you grow them in a block. So for the size of this table, say, you could get definitely 6, maybe 9 sweet corn in this sort of patch. And Again, oh my goodness, worth waiting for. Yes, you can get them at the shops, but you can't get them at the shops freshly picked to the pan within hours, within an hour, if not within minutes. If you've got one of those little gas things up at your plot or out in your garden, get it off there, because as soon as you pick it, the sugars start to disappear, wane, if you like. So the sooner you eat it, the sweeter it is. And oh my goodness, you don't need anything with it. Butter is amazing on it, but you can just eat it as it is. Just warm it through. Beautiful. So yeah, if you can grow sweet corn, grow sweet corn. And my last one, I promise, unless I've missed one out. Nope, don't think I have. Beetroot. This is my root of choice. Carrots, parsnips, potatoes even, they're okay, they're great, you can grow them. But again, what I like about beetroot is that I have discovered such a lot about them since I started growing them. Again, I keep talking about the colours and the varieties, but you can get golden ones, you can get the candy stripe ones, which have got the concentric pink and white circles in, you know, and just when you're cooking a meal, just to have that variety of colours, it's just beautiful. And it's the thing I like about beetroot as well is I think there's folklore that it was used as an to increase desire, to increase the desire of the maneth and the womaneth. Some sort of quote like that. But yeah, because again, it's one of these very, very mostly dark, rich, purple fruits. I'm saying fruits, vegetables, that is just full of antioxidants. It's so full of things that are good for you, and if you can eat it again as fresh as you can, absolutely brilliant. Again, we've still got some in the freezer from last year. You can pickle it, which I think is abhorrent, but you can. You know, you've got that right choice, and I think, yeah, it's just really lovely to do. It's lovely to discover, and once you open the beetroot door, you find out how many more there are out there, and yeah, give them a go. So that was going to be a quick video. I dread to think how quick it was now. I think it was probably quite slow, but they are my 10 vegetables. At least they are for today. Now I might go home and think, oh no, I forgot all about the lesser spotted cucumber or something, you know, but they're the ones. If you gave me a choice of seeds today and asked me which ones I wanted to pick, they'd be the ones I'd go for. I haven't got, like I say, I haven't got carrots, I haven't got potatoes, parsnips, your standard runner bean, your French bean, your peas, your artichokes, your courgettes. I haven't got any of them on there. So actually, as I said at the beginning, it's one of those, the more you start thinking about it, the more you realise you're actually growing. So have a little think about it yourself. Do let me know in the comments below what your top 10 are, whether they're the same as mine, what you would have that's different to mine. If you are a content creator, Liz has invited you to put up a video talking about your own top 10 vegetables, and we'll see just how many of us agree and disagree, and it'd be really interesting to know what people from different countries with different climates, with different growing zones, how much we can compare like with like. So yeah, okay, thought that would be a bit of fun. Get your thinking hat on and let me know in the comments below. Thank you to all of you who subscribed and got me over the 6,000. Woo! I'm so thrilled this week when that happened. If you want to come along to Instagram and Facebook, again, I'll put all the links below. But I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.